Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode.
Hello.
Amanda, this is your first video as a graduate of standard of care.
Yes, hallelujah.
Why don't you give us all an update?
Yes, I have graduated from standard of care at UCSF. It's 6 months of chemotherapy as well as the 40 rounds of radiation and other chemotherapy. And I am very happy to not have that in my calendar this month.
Chemo?
Yeah. Well, I mean, not this month.
Indefinitely forever.
Right.
No, I mean, there's a chance that you could be done and done.
That's a plan.
Okay, well, maybe I'm more optimistic about it than
I
you
think you are. I think I'm more like,
It's been 10 months basically since this all started. Have you had a chance to really catch your breath and reflect on what the last 10 months have been?
No, not at all. Just because, I mean, you go from thinking everything's fine in your life to, oh my gosh, my hike and one day just went from a hike to a terminal diagnosis to surgery to rehab and then your radiation chemo and it's just, I mean, it's like you just have to sprint, and then now everything just stopped, and so it's like, whoa, what the hell just happened? And so very thankful to be working with a therapist. I'm very thankful to be working with a neuropsychiatrist. Psychologist. So yeah.
That was one of the other things we did when you were at UCSF this past week was you met with a neuropsychologist.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what that entailed and what you learned or discovered during that?
So I didn't know what to expect. She said that we're going to be testing you on some things. There's no way you can prepare for this test. They're like, don't even try. And I fully understand why she said that. It was a whole gamut of testing. Math problems, words, pictures, the damn clock again. This one, I nailed that one. And it was eye-opening. I definitely, in these past 10 months, thought, like, wow, I'm doing really well. And then I got graded and tested, and I was like, nope. There's like some things that are just absolutely unchanged after surgery. There is certain parts of my brain, like the executive functioning's a little off, and kind of like a spatial awareness is a little bit off. And so I left that appointment and to no fault of the lady, because she did an incredible job and she was very kind, but I left that appointment just feeling honestly defeated. I was like, wait, what? Like, how am I still having these problems? Like, why is this so hard? Like, my life, is it ever going to go back to some version of normal? Like, can I really go back to work? Because there was just some things, I mean, I didn't know what I didn't know until that appointment. And I was like, wow, I'm really cognitively still struggling.
Did you share that with her at the end of it?
We weren't really allowed to talk about it.
How you were feeling?
Yeah.
So if you
she's very sweet, but she kind of like she had to like set the tone, and even there were times during the test where she's like, I can't say that.
I'm just saying at the conclusion of the test when you're leaving, so you could feel absolutely miserable and you can't talk to him and say, I just feel this made me feel like shit.
Well, what happened with that one was I had to fill out this form, and she left for the day because it was like over 5 o'clock. And so then I just waited with the staff, like the front desk people. So there really wasn't time because she was gone.
So there's nobody for you to talk to and communicate your feelings to about afterwards?
From UCSF?
Mm-hmm.
No. But I also think that's by design. I really do. I think it's by design. Like I really liked her, and
to send somebody away feeling horrible?
No, I don't think she really realized like how bad it was. I was in my own head.
No, I know that, and that's what I'm saying is you and I have talked about this. Is that you will feel something, and then you're unwilling to bring it up or address it with somebody, and then you kind of just hold on to it.
Yes.
And that's what I'm asking is, so was this a situation where you just held on to it, you walked away and left, and you're in your own head, like you just said, and rather than talking with somebody and just sharing with them and allowing yourself just to honor that feeling and create a little space for yourself, you just stuffed it and walked away?
Well, I mean, I opened up to you right afterwards. There's some times where I just feel like I'm a shell of my own, or a shell of who I used to be. And that was the day that I definitely felt that, where I just thought to myself, my goodness, like this is unbelievable. Like how life has changed so fast in 10 months. And I just needed, like, I think if I could have just screamed at a mountaintop, that would have been the best.
Maybe that's something that your own personal responsibility with this is for future sessions with any of these kinds of things, you go into and just tell people, I'm realizing that when I do this kind of work, it is sometimes it makes me aware of things about myself that I wasn't necessarily aware of. And sometimes I get some really strong feelings that come up because of it. And would it be okay if we just allowed 3 to 5 minutes at the end of the session for me to just speak to what I'm feeling? Because otherwise my tendency is to just shove it down and not talk about it.
Yeah.
I mean, is that something you'd be open to do?
I mean, I would be open to do it, but it's just that was not an option.
As a graduate of standard of care, what it looks like for you going forward is it's going to be MRIs every 2 months. And that will be at least for the rest of this year. If you continue to do well, then they'll probably revise that to maybe every 2 to 3 months going into the next year. But for the foreseeable future, we're living our life essentially in these 2-month increments of time. One of the things that we thought we would do on these videos that are post MRI is just share 3 to 5 things we hope to accomplish, experience in the next 2 months. And we also invite and encourage you to do the same if you want to play along with us and just look at life. Sometimes I think we overburden ourselves by putting so much life that we have to have our whole entire life figured out right now. We have to plan for 10 years, 5 years, whatever it is, but really just giving yourself permission to think about how do you want to maximize 2 months at a time. So what are 3 to 5 things for you?
1 is to go to Sedona. Number 2 is going back to work. Very part-time. Really dialing in and figuring out with like 2-month increments, like some structure around like reading and journaling and like physical exercise and stuff like that. What about you?
3 things. I'm really looking forward to Sedona. I think that'll be a wonderful time. It's beautiful there. I love it there. 2, really excited to do some things re-engaging with work. I want to begin working with 2 to 3 new clients, the right clients, and also securing at least 1 or 2 keynotes. I want those keynotes to be based off of, I have a couple that I traditionally will get booked out for, but I've been playing with one just as a kind of a pulling in some of the stuff from the last 10 months. And I think there's something really special there that will be the perfect fit for the right organizations. And 3, now that you said one of my favorite words, the structure word, I am really looking forward to helping support you with that in whatever capacity that is. And then 4, hopefully one day getting my French fries. Right, anything else for this video?
I went out to eat, everybody, and it was delicious. And in a funny turn of event, Jesse had to cut my steak because I didn't know how to do that.
Well, so and it's not that you don't know how. It's you have to relearn.
Yeah.
Everything we do, I'll say this really quickly. Everything we do is a strategy. So how we cut our steak, we don't just cut our steak. We have a sequencing pattern that we've developed in our brains. So we have an impulse that goes down to all the different muscles, the hundreds of muscles that are involved in that simple act of cutting a steak. And we have a strategy that we've developed to do that. We whether it's we see it first, we pick up our device, we get tension in our muscles, we brace our body, we lean forward. There's all these things. It's these things that we see as simple movements are actually very complex neuromuscularly. You just haven't relearned strategies. And all of us have learned strategies at some point in our life, but most of it is when we were infants and young and we don't even remember it. So these things that we do now are unconscious. Mm-hmm. For you, you're having to consciously relearn it, and your biggest obstacle, not just is the noticeable neuromuscular deficits, but also your rush to judge yourself and say I can't do it or I don't know how to.
Yeah.
And we talked about that last night, and there's 2 instances now in this video where you were disparaging of yourself, which I'll be able to point out to you later as evidence to my point. And so while she was struggling to cut her steak, she was able to do it to some capacity, and then we briefly entertained, and I could tell I hit my max allotment during dinner, is what it would look like for her to start to develop strategy to do that again. And when I explained it to her and we're showing her some things, she was able to do it. She just didn't want to really work out there at the restaurant. It was easier for me to do it, which is fine. But it's something that if you practice it, you'll be able to figure it out, and you'll have a strategy that works for you.
Right.
All right. Anything else? Okay. As always, we love and appreciate each and every one of you so much. This has been as Amanda said, it's really been a sprint the last 10 months. It's been a marathon of 10 months, but we've been running at a sprint pace. And we've been able to do it the way we have in large part because of all the constant love and support from each and every one of you. Every prayer, every thought, every well wish, every ounce of love that you have sent our way, it has made a difference. It's making a difference today, and it will continue to make a difference. So thank you for being a part of the journey. If you haven't joined the It's Your Time to Shine Facebook group yet, definitely check that out. That'll eventually at some point be a more active and engaged hub for hopefully us being able to share some of the things that Amanda is doing to help support her longevity. And we will see you all next time. Take care.